I'm Chelsea,
And I'm Jenny.
and this is Death and Gardening. All right, Jenny. I'm going to tell you today about Graham Frederick Young.
Okay.
We're going to get into a lot of science and poison.
Ooh.
A lot of poison. So much poison.
Oh,
You'll
no.
Understand. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For the science. All right. Let's start with the birth. So Graham Frederick Young was born September 7th, 1947, in Nayston, Middlesex, England.
Okay.
He had one older sister, Winifred, and at 14 weeks old, Graham's mother died of tuberculosis.
Ooh.
Wow. His father did not handle it well and was understandably devastated.
Right.
So, because he was so devastated by the death, it caused kind of the family to split up a little bit. So, Graham was to be placed under the care of his aunt and uncle, where he would spend the first 2 years of his life. And his sister was sent to live with their grandparents. It wasn't until their father remarried to a woman named Molly in 1950 that the family was reunited.
Okay.
So it was not like a long, drawn-out kind of separation, but it was still enough.
Right. And that is, I think, fairly common of the time also. Yeah.
However, because Graham was given to them at such a young age, and that's kind of all he grew up knowing for the first 2 years of his life, he was distressed by being separated from the aunt that he had grown so close to.
That's fair.
Yeah. And he just grew into a peculiar child with, those fun little interests. He was solitary, seemed to make no effort to socialize with others his own age.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Yep. When he was old enough to read, he preferred nonfiction accounts of murders, and Dr. Crippen, Crippen, a infamous poisoner, was one of his favorites. He even considered the Victorian poisoner William Palmer to be a personal hero.
Hero is a choice. Mm-hmm. Okay.
From a young age, he was very fascinated with poisons, which, as somebody who also enjoys, not giving them to people, but enjoys looking at them and knowing how they come about, I get it to an extent.
I feel like it's just a good educational thing to know in case of poisoning, what might happen and how to fix it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that you can poison people with, so an accident can occur very easily.
Right.
However, this wasn't his only peculiar fascination. Yeah. And I won't touch quite as much into this because it does play into his character a bit, but it doesn't really play too much into what he did as much, I guess. But by the time he reached his teens, he had a very unhealthy fascination with Adolf Hitler. Mm-hmm. And he took to wearing swastikas and claiming how misunderstood Hitler was, and yeah.
And he was born in 47?
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Ooh, hate that.
Yeah.
Hate that. Okay.
He also, this is just like a personal slight, delved into the occult.
I mean, okay. That also, there was a lot that Hitler was
There's a lot,
so yeah. I'm okay.
He had a lot going on.
Yeah.
For the occult things, he would claim to have knowledge of local covens, tried involving the local children in strange occult activities, and even sacrificed a cat on one occasion. Yeah. I had also seen in reading that by the noticeable, dead cats that would show up in his time period in living in that area, it was probably more than one cat, but they at least know about one.
Hate that so much.
I know. Me too. Not great.
Yeah.
His academic interest, however, entirely revolved around chemistry, forensic science, and toxicology.
Okay.
Which is why I'm not going to focus on those too much.
Yeah.
Definitely more on this. Because of the limited school coverage of the subjects, he did a lot of extracurricular reading. So obviously schools only had a certain number of books that he could check out and read. So he definitely took it upon himself to further his interests and just go find some other books and obtain all the knowledge he could.
I mean, I appreciate that for sure. Yeah.
He's a very brilliant kid. We will find out how brilliant. Like, it's actually impressive. So his father also, being a great guy, wanting to encourage his son's interest. He loves science, so yes, let's encourage that. Perfect. Bought him a chemistry set, which Graham would use for hours at a time. By the age of 13, his knowledge of toxicology was extensive enough. He was able to convince the local chemist that he was 17. At the age of 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 1961, Graham acquired antimony, a lustrous gray metal that is stable in air at room temperature, also toxic. He also got his hands on digitalis, foxgloves,
Right.
arsenic for study purposes, as well as quantities of thallium, highly toxic, soft, silvery white metal found in the Earth's crust.
Yes.
Yep. He signed the poisons register in the name M.E. Evans. Couldn't find out why, but he sure did. He eagerly set to work with putting his knowledge to the test and first targeted a fellow scientist, Christopher Williams. Yeah, he wasted no time.
Okay.
He wanted to see how the poisons worked and to test his knowledge and see if he knew how to make them correctly.
Oh my gosh. And take out some fellow competition at the same time, I guess?
Sure.
I don't know.
At the age of 13.
Right? Why do you take out a fellow scientist?
Graham concocted a cocktail of poisons that was said to have left medical experts baffled, and Williams was lucky to survive.
Oh, survive. Well, that's good, but
Did survive.
wow.
Lucky to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since he hadn't been able to monitor the symptoms of his victim feasibly, he turned his ambitions and dark scientific intentions on the people he could monitor, his family.
Oh no.
Because what good is a scientific experiment if you can't watch the results in real time?
That sounds horrible. Yep. In this case, yeah, obviously, you want to be able to observe and, but wow.
So, first was his stepmother, Molly, then his father, and then his sister. All of them ended up having similar symptoms of excruciating stomach cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. Shortly after his sister fell ill, so did Graham. For some reason. As if a mystery bug had affected the whole family. Even a couple of Graham's school friends became repeatedly absent, experiencing the same symptoms.
Wow.
In November of 1961, Graham served his sister a cup of tea in the morning. She consumed one drink but thought it tasted sour, and so she tossed the rest of it. An hour later, while on the train to work, Winifred began hallucinating.
Oh.
She had to be helped out of the station by staff and was inevitably taken to the hospital. Doctors concluded that she had been exposed to Atropa belladonna.
Oh.
Which we have covered so many times.
Yeah.
Graham's father confronted him, but Graham said that he had only used the family teacups to mix shampoo.
Shampoo?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, let's just use Grandma's teacup to mix shampoo. Okay.
Yeah, no poison mixing, just shampoo. Obviously.
When the excuse is almost worse than the real reason. Okay.
It's great. His father ended up searching Graham's room. He didn't find anything incriminating, but did tell his son to be more careful. Yeah,
Okay,
specifically, be more careful when messing about with those bloody chemicals. Mm-hmm. So he had a hunch. He knew something was up. He's like, stop.
Right. Yeah.
Because Graham had also been ill on numerous occasions, it was hard to say whether it was by design to keep people off of his track or if he was that lazy and messy with his experimenting with the teacups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally think it's probably the first one. Because if you're sick too, well, no, why would I make myself sick? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unfortunately, Molly ended up becoming the focus. The first focus, I'll say, but the focus.
Yeah. As the stepmom. Mm-hmm. After being ripped away from, well, maybe not ripped, that's dramatic, but yeah, taken away from the aunt and uncle and
He's basically his mother figure that he has any form of memories of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can see it, but she didn't necessarily seem like a horrible lady. But at that point, it might not have even mattered.
Yeah.
She ended up becoming gradually more and more ill. On April 21st of 1962, Molly was found by Graham's father writhing in agony in the back garden of their home. She was rushed to the hospital where she would die later that night.
Oh.
In the article that I read, it said that she was found by his father with him onlooking. Just like very curiously watching.
Right, the creeper in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
what happened.
terrible. Yeah,
Yep. Her cause of death was determined to be a prolapse of a spinal cord, which had been believed to have been from a road accident. Much later, Graham admitted to poisoning her with a lethal dose of thallium because she had developed a tolerance to the antimony that Graham had been slowly poisoning her with.
Wow.
Yep. The kicker is that he suggested she be cremated.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah. And they did. But, yep. At her wake, Graham even poisoned a male relative by lacing a jar of mustard pickle with antimony. What? Kid is off the rails, okay? He just really wants to experiment on everybody.
That's terrible.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Shortly after, Fred, Graham's father, had an attack of vomiting and cramping that became even more severe. When he was admitted to the hospital, he was diagnosed with antimony poisoning. At least they actually found it this time. We're like, oh, that's bad. Yeah.
Right.
He was lucky to survive his son's experimenting, but it was Graham's chemistry teacher that actually ended up contacting authorities after he discovered poisons in copious materials about poisoners and the white supremacy Nazi stuff, but specifically copious materials about poisoners and poisons and having actual physical poisons in his school desk.
Okay. Yep.
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 So good on the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Graham ended up being sent to a police psychiatrist at only 14 years old. Yeah, also, he's only 14 at this point.
That's insane.
Graham was arrested on May 23rd, 1962, after the vials of thallium and antimony were found in his possession. He had admitted to poisoning his father, sister, colleague, and school friends. But no murder charges were brought against him for his stepmother's death, because any evidence would have been destroyed when she was cremated.
Yes. Yep.
Psychiatrist Dr. Christopher Fish, F-Y-S-H.
Okay.
Yep. Testified that Graham had a psychopathic disorder, which we check out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that they caught that, but yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rather than a mental illness, and therefore had failed to develop a normal moral sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the watching people struggle and die, that is 100%, in my not scientific medical opinion, for sure, psychopath
Yeah, his
behavior.
moral compass is lacking.
Yes.
Dr. Fish also felt that it was extremely likely, in quotes, that Graham would reoffend, and recounted one conversation with Graham where he stated, "I am missing my antimony. I miss the power it gives me."
Ew.
At 14.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a whole different kind of toxic relationship.
Yeah, he poisoned his entire family.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just mean, yeah, the missing the power that it gives
Yeah.
you. That's a whole codependency of...
That's a different kind of crutch, yeah.
Yeah.
Graham was committed to Broadmoor Maximum Security Hospital and not to be released for 15 years without the approval of the Home Secretary.
Wow.
This is an important detail. He was not to be released for 15 years.
Okay.
We'll run back to that. At 14 years old, Graham was the youngest inmate since 1885.
That seems... Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Incarceration didn't seem to dampen his curiosity for experimenting, though. Within the first few weeks of his arrival, a fellow inmate, John Berridge, died of cyanide poisoning.
How do you get cyanide in prison?
Surprisingly very easy, actually, which is horrifying. Some of the staff and other inmates suspected Graham, mostly because he delightfully explained how cyanide could be extracted from laurel leaves.
Oh.
And unfortunately for this place, the grounds around Broadmoor were covered with laurel bushes. Yeah. However, Graham's confessions were not taken seriously, and Berridge's death was ultimately ruled as a suicide.
Sure.
That's one case. I should have probably started this with, you're going to be going, what? A lot during this. Because that's one case of, why would you turn a blind eye to that? Just,
Yeah.
why? So that's the first one. Later, Harpic, a brand of toilet cleaner in the UK, was found in a nurse's coffee, and the contents of a missing packet of sugar soap, another cleaning material, were found in a tea urn that could and probably would have caused a mass poisoning if it had not been discovered.
Wow.
Yeah. Graham continued to read about poisoning, but kept his obsession more well hidden than before, due to the belief that if he appeared less obsessed with poisoning, he would get released sooner.
I mean, yeah, that's usually how that works, but okay.
Now hide it better, and then you can go back to society again.
Yeah.
Yay, early 1900s. Well, mid, I guess, because it's 1965 now, but
Yeah.
So, in 1965, Graham applied for his first release from Broadmoor. His father and sister attended the hearing and stated not only that if he were to be released, none of his family would be willing to home them, but also his father said his son should never be released.
Yeah.
Yeah. The application was rejected.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 5 years later, in June of 1970, the Broadmoor psychiatrist Edgar Udwin wrote to the Home Secretary to recommend Graham's release, claiming that he was no longer obsessed with poisons, violence, and mischief, and he is no longer a danger to others. However, so this is another example of come again. It is noted that Graham remarked to one of the nurses at Broadmoor, "When I get out," this is a quote, "I'm going to kill one person for every year I've spent in this place."
Okay.
Though the comment was recorded on his file, it didn't seem to have much influence in the decision to release him.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you could even take that as anything other than, because that would be almost not a justified, but a
Premeditated?
reasonable, or like I could understand somebody who feels being locked up is like, that would be almost a, maybe not normal reaction, but a reaction of, I'm pissed about being in prison, so now I'm going to take my revenge when I get out. I don't know how you could take that as anything other than, I'm going to do this when I get out.
He's just mad. He would
Yeah.
never actually do it.
Uh-huh.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, Graham was officially released from Broadmoor on February 4th of 1971 at the age of 23, after only 8 of the 15 years that he was meant to spend there.
Ugh.
Yeah. He stayed in a hostel, though did contact his sister, who had moved away after marrying. She was a lot more forgiving than their father, but she was still concerned with his fixation on his own crimes. It's reported that he enjoyed visiting the scenes of his past crimes to kind of get a reaction from his neighbors that still recognized him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, criminals returning to the scene of the crime for the notoriety of it, basically. Yeah.
Ugh.
It was only a matter of weeks before Graham continued on with his fatal interests. He tried to acquire poison from John Bell in Croydon, but to no prevail, since the chemist required written authorization in order to sell the things he wanted.
Almost like a little poison book, of like a record of who they sell it to.
He later returned with the required authorization and obtained 25 grams of antimony potassium tartrate. He told the chemist that he needed it for qualitative and quantitative analysis. Later on, he returned more to get 25 grams of thallium.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot.
I want to say yes. I have a scale at home to like literally see what grams. Also, all I can think of is the comedian Eliza talking about going to a different country and seeing the measurement in grams and like thinking cocaine and being like,
Right.
like a gram. That's all that comes to my brain now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 grams seems like a decent amount. Later on, I do have the lethal amount for
Okay.
at least one of them, I believe. But let's get back to Graham and his everything.
Graham and his Grahams.
Grams. So he attended a storekeeping training course in Slough and befriended another resident of the hostel that he'd been staying at, 34-year-old Trevor Sparks. They would occasionally visit a pub together, and they would share a bottle of wine in Sparks' room. They were friends. Friendly enough. On the night of February 10th, Sparks fell violently ill. Earlier in the evening, he had accepted a glass of water from Graham. Sparks' symptoms would come and go over the next few months. So he recovered from whatever was in the water, and then just over the next few months, it would keep happening and just come and go. And yeah, at one point, he was so ill at a football match that he had to leave the pitch after a few minutes, and specialists couldn't seem to pinpoint the cause and just chalked it up to things like kidney infection, bowel infection, stomach infection, etc. Yeah. Miraculously, Sparks gradually recovered after leaving Slough in April of 1971. Yeah, it's almost like if you distance yourself from the problem, you get better.
Yeah. Right? This is giving some Henry Gerard vibes of Yeah.
Next, Graham secured a job as an assistant storekeeper at John Hadland Laboratories in Bovingdon. Bovingdon, Hertfordshire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was a photographic supply firm.
Yeah.
Which happened to also be near his sister's home in Hemel Hempstead. Just a fun fact. His employers were aware of his Broadmoor stay, but not of his history as a poisoner that led him there.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's because he just flat out lied.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. As his employers understood it, he had had a nervous breakdown when his mother died in a car accident. And they even received references as part of his rehabilitation at Broadmoor. None of it apparently mentioning the poisonings that happened, but while out and in Broadmoor.
Yeah, because that's not important.
No.
Yeah.
Or the threats.
Yeah.
At his new job, he was fine. He offered to make teas and coffees for his coworkers.
No.
Regularly, which raised no concerns. He just seemed nice. He was making teas and coffee for people. Each employee had their own mug as well.
Oh.
Which made it easier for him to target them. Strangely enough, Graham's 59-year-old boss, Bob Eggle, began experiencing severe cramps and dizziness, which everyone attributed to the Bovingdon bug. Because the problem is that there was also just like a bug that would go around with the grade school children and all that. And so they're like, oh no, I must just be sick. It's a bug, it'll pass, it's fine. That's what they thought anyway. So other Hadland workers also began complaining about similar symptoms that Bob had, but none of their symptoms were quite as severe. Yeah. So it was like he was kind of picking favorites in a way. Bob recovered when he took time off work and then became sicker when he came back.
Wow.
Yeah. On July 7th, 1971, Bob Eggle was admitted to the hospital, and Graham called them for updates on Eggle's progress, just seemingly concerned. Bob ended up dying at the hospital, where the cause of death was attributed to Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Oh.
Yeah. At the funeral, the managing director, Godfrey Foster, recalled Graham remarking it was sad that Bob should come through the terrors of Dunkirk only to fall victim to some strange illness.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During all of Eggle's absences, his fellow co-workers had all of Graham's attention. Because the main target's gone, so time to look at everybody else.
Ugh. Yeah.
These specific people, and these are going to happen, some of them in separate cases and then some of them simultaneously. Or at least a couple of them simultaneously. But the next few people we're going to talk about are Ron Hewitt, Diana Smart, David Tilson, Jethro Batt, and Fred Biggs. All victims to Graham's favorite duo, antimony and thallium.
Ugh. Wow.
So, Graham had been hired to replace Ron Hewitt, who had already put in his notice for another job. So he was out the door. So luckily for him, he only had to deal with this for a little bit, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Graham poisoned his tea with antimony until Ron left for his new job.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then him leaving led to Graham being promoted, at least for a probationary period, to head storeman. For the next few months, he focused on his other coworker, Diana Smart. Often and mainly when she annoyed him.
Oh.
Yeah. Also using antimony because, of course.
Yeah.
One diary entry read, "Di irritated me yesterday, so I packed her off home with an attack of sickness. I only gave her enough to shake her up. I now regret that I didn't give her a larger dose capable of laying her up for a few days."
Wow.
I don't know what she did,
Right.
but damn. On October 8th, 1971, Graham put thallium acetate in unsuspecting David Tilson's tea. Graham had added sugar to disguise the taste of the thallium, but then the tea ended up being too sweet. So David had maybe a couple drinks and then got rid of the rest. He was like, bleh. A week later, Graham gave Tilson a second dose of thallium. Tilson's symptoms at the hospital were as follows: numb legs, breathing difficulties, chest pains, his hair fell out, and his skin was so tender that he couldn't even have the hospital blanket on.
Ooh.
Yeah. The weight of the bed sheets was too much for how sensitive his skin was.
Yikes.
And Graham even had a backup plan, which is insane. To visit Tilson in the hospital with a bottle of brandy laced with even more thallium. Luckily, Tilson recovered, but he was left permanently impotent. Yeah, so on top of everything else, and losing his hair,
Yeah.
now he's permanently impotent as well.
Ugh. That's so bad.
Yeah, thallium's bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know a whole lot about thallium before reading this, and holy shit. There's a reason that it is, it's dicey.
Yeah.
And left to the professionals. So while all of that was going on, Graham was also poisoning another employee, Jethro Batt.
Well, don't want to leave him out, apparently. Jeez.
They, strangely enough, had become friendly. And Batt would give him rides home. And they would be chill and cordial. Graham admitted to giving Batt coffee in 2 doses containing 4 grams of thallium, enough to kill him. Batt luckily found the coffee too strong for his liking. And though he didn't end up drinking it all, he still ended up drinking enough to put him in the hospital.
Ugh.
He recovered in the end, but he was left the same as Tilson. So he was still permanently impotent after all of that. He also had very similar to the same symptoms, losing hair, cramps, all of that. And Graham, in his diary, had an entry saying, "I feel rather ashamed in my action in harming Jay." Yeah.
Why? Because he was nice to you and you still poisoned him? Like,
But then, like, that instance gave him a flicker of empathy-ish, kind
Yeah.
of, and being like, oh, I do feel bad for that one. It's like, okay, I mean, yeah, you felt something.
Maybe.
But also, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he wrote it down in a book that nobody
you
was
can
supposed to see.
Still
So,
fake it. Yeah.
yeah. But that was the only particular poisoning that he seems to have recorded any amount of feeling remorse about or
Yeah.
any kind of shame about. The next and last was Fred Biggs, a 56-year-old local counselor and part-time employee at Hadland. At the first, Graham used antimony to poison him, but after falling to the Bovingdon bug, he recovered. On October 30th, in 1971, Graham put 3 doses of thallium in Biggs's tea. Within days, he was admitted to the Hemel Hempstead General Hospital, then transferred to the Whittington Hospital in North London, followed by another transfer to the London National Hospital for Nervous Diseases.
Ooh.
Because his central nervous system had deteriorated to the point that he couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And he had trouble breathing, and parts of his skin were peeling off.
Ooh.
Yeah. And of course, Graham, in a illusion of concern, would keep up with his condition by contacting Biggs' wife and asking for status updates.
Wow.
Yeah. Until Biggs finally died on November 19th of 1971.
Oh.
It's the illusion that really gets me of just like calling spouses or calling hospitals to check up on somebody. And it's not at all out of concern.
Right.
It's out of scientific study
Yeah.
in the most cold, calculated way. Yeah.
Right. Asking the wife, oh, well, how is he today? Does he have this symptom, this symptom? You know, I can only imagine how that would go. And it's got to be in a way that's not super suspicious, I guess. But,
You know, you would, well, yeah. Because when he first made it to Broadmoor, he was talking about how you can make cyanide out of the laurel leaves. So I'm like, so if he did tone it down and kept it toned down, then maybe he was able to ask the questions in a more disguised kind of way.
yeah. Or, I mean, he might have just been the weird dude that everybody is like, oh, he's just
Is
really.
this happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see either one, honestly.
Yeah.
So all of these sicknesses and sudden suspicious deaths finally drew some attention, and Graham's coworkers became increasingly suspicious of him.
Crazy.
Yeah. Philip Doggett told management about Graham's unhealthy obsession with poisons, but the firm's medical officer, Dr. Ian Anderson, I believe it's how that's pronounced. It's like Ian.
I think so.
Ian sounds close
Yeah.
enough. All right. Or at least Dr. Anderson.
Yep.
Told the staff that heavy metal poisoning had already been ruled out. Which, funnily enough, led to an argument between him and Graham, who insisted that the symptoms displayed by the victims absolutely pointed to this diagnosis.
I mean, yeah, ask
He
the
was
expert.
a science man first.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Intrigued and curious, Anderson quizzed Graham further, only to discover exactly how vast Graham's knowledge was. This prompted the firm's owner, John Hadlin, to finally contact the police. And a background check, a full one, by investigators was finally conducted.
Oh, good.
Which revealed Graham's previous convictions on, or well, not convictions, but his past with poisonings and why he actually went to Broadmoor. On November 20th of 1971, Graham was arrested at the home of his aunt and uncle in Sheerness, Kent. Though nothing incriminating was found on his person, and he claimed no wrongdoing. In parentheses, I couldn't help but audibly laugh while researching this just for the sheer audacity of this man. His aunt heard him ask one of the officers as he was being let out the door, "Which one is it you're doing me for?"
Oh, no.
And I did. I read that. I was just like, all right.
I mean, I guess if he's caught and he knows, then what's the point in hiding? But yeah, that's a fun one.
When his dwelling was finally searched by officers, they discovered a large stash of bottles containing poisons, which included 434 milligrams of thallium and 32.33 grams of antimony. Other poisons found were atropine, aconitine, and digitalis. And then they also obviously inevitably found the Nazi paraphernalia, and they found his diary, where he had been keeping all of those detailed notes on the doses he administered, their side effects, and whether he was going to let each person live or die.
Wow. Oh, that is...
Yeah.
Yikes.
So he went from also, I guess, just scientific study and hard analysis to kind of deciding whether or not he was going to play God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He admitted to all of the poisonings and even admitted to having committed the perfect murder by killing his stepmother. And then the cremation. So, yep. He even spent, because this is just who this guy was, 20 minutes explaining to officers the effects of thallium on the human body.
Okay.
Yep. When questioned as to why he poisoned people, he stated, "I suppose I had ceased to see them as people. At least a part of me had. They were simply guinea pigs." Which checks out for the way he acted the entire time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think he's lying there.
No. Probably not.
Graham Young was charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 4 counts of administering poison with intent to injure, as well as 4 counts of administering poison to cause bodily harm. He pleaded not guilty, obviously.
Right.
Which made it hard to find anyone to represent him. But also when you spend 20 minutes explaining to the officers the effects of thallium on the human body, yeah, it's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
I didn't poison people. I just know how they all work.
Right.
And the detailed journal of notes and scientific study and observation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because of that, the trial date had been postponed several times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Even though he retracted his earlier confession to police, because he had admitted all of them, and then he retracted it. After admitting to all of it, the evidence against him outside of that, obviously, was still very strong. 75 witnesses were called to give testimony. Graham himself was the only witness in his own defense.
Wow.
And he claimed that the diary was just a fantasy for a novel after it was read out loud in court.
Oh. No.
He sure tried.
No.
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 The cremated remains of Bob Eggle were analyzed and found to contain 9 milligrams of thallium. And this was, at least recorded here, the first instance of cremated ashes being used as evidence in a murder conviction. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was just neat.
Yeah.
Really shitty that it had to happen. But
Right.
neat.
Yeah.
On June 29th, 1972, after an hour and 38 minutes of deliberating, the jury found Graham Young guilty of 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of administering poison with intent to injure, and he wasn't found guilty of poisoning Sparks or Buck, who his name shows up only later from the 2 or 3 places I had been reading. When he was at the hostel, there was like another kind of friendly person that he had known, and I am going to allege that is Buck, because they don't name him.
Oh,
They're like, oh
okay.
yeah, there's Sparks, and then another guy. It's like,
Yeah.
where's Buck come from?
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't found guilty of poisoning Sparks or Buck. Yeah.
Interesting.
And acquitted on all 4 counts of administering poison to cause grievous bodily harm. I don't know. I don't ask them. I don't know. It's...
Okay.
Maybe they thought that the journal was just a fantasy novel playwright. I have no idea.
That's, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Graham ended up dying in his cell at Parkhurst Prison on the evening of August 1st, 1990, a month before his 43rd birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. Though his death was listed as myocardial infarction, so heart, he had no history of heart disease. And it's speculated that Graham either committed suicide or was murdered by prisoners or prison staff who felt unsafe around him.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
they almost died at Broadmoor, so
Yeah.
these ones just kind of pulled the gun a little faster, if that is what took him out. Or he could have just committed suicide and decided to take his own life that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because that's kind of after so long in prison, and because that would have been, what, almost 20 years of being in prison?
Let's see. 1972, 1990? Yeah?
That's an awfully long time to just one day decide, oh, I don't want to be here. Which, I mean,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Both are interesting theories. The second one seems a little more possibly plausible.
Yeah.
Because also 43 is still, I mean, even for, it's the 1900s. It's not
Yeah.
the 1700s.
Oh, yeah, no, that's very young. Yeah.
Yeah. So the aftermath of this tale did lead to some good things.
Oh, good.
It ended with the Home Secretary Reginald Maulding confirming that more safeguards were to be introduced governing the release of mentally ill offenders.
Okay.
Additionally, no patient from a special hospital could be discharged without 2 recommendations. So just the one dude being like, nah, he's fine. He won't reoffend. No, you need
Right.
2.
Right. Yeah.
From psychiatrists following his conviction, there were reports of copycat poisonings, and therefore, the Poisons Act of 1972 was created to restrict and control the sale of poisons. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the end, some good did come from his actions, but obviously it also took murders to happen, but... Yeah.
Right. That's a very common thing even today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something crazy happens. Let's not let happen again. And then more rules
Yeah.
and regulations
Yeah.
that should have been there in the first place. But yeah, so they definitely decided that they wanted to do more checks and pay more attention, honestly, to releasing people, especially ones that look like they could maybe reoffend and just actually care.
Right.
Is kind of also what it seems like.
Yeah.
Because it's just too loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be in there for 15 years. No earlier than 8. Yeah, that is the tale of Graham Frederick Young. And that's also why I said, yeah, the Nazi stuff, the Hitler stuff, that is bad.
Right.
But for what he did, that is not prevalent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. He was so brilliant, too. And it's unfortunate to see that he was that brilliant and ended up going down a murderous path.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have done so many good things with that.
So many. Convincing people that he was 3 or 4 years older than he was with just his knowledge alone is impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they said about Ted Bundy at his trial. The judge talking to him, oh, if you wouldn't have gone down this path of murder, I would have been happy to have you in my courtroom. And, it's hard to think about, but it's like, yeah, they were smart. That's
very smart.
Usually how they get away with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually. Unfortunately. But yeah, and so many things. And now you got to learn about thallium and the effects of thallium on the human body.
Yeah. I think I have only read about thallium as prolonged over time exposure, years time exposure. Yeah. And that can cause a lot of diseases and cancers and all kinds of things. So I didn't know that it also did the thing a lot of it. It's thallium. Yeah. It's bad for you, but I hadn't read about it in the sense of, you get too much at one time and it'll still do bad things. So, yeah, absolutely. Really bad things. Yeah.
Yeah. The skin peeling was crazy.
Yeah. No, I hate that.
Yeah. No, that's.
Yeah.
I've seen other things that do stuff like that, but I was like, oh, and noted. And just how much he loved antimony. Yeah. Which is not a poison I think of often. No, it's just, it's a chemical in the periodic table. It's a metal. Yeah. Apparently also very toxic and used for poisoning. If so be it, I guess, if you choose. Yeah. Yeah. So, and luckily, well, obviously, unfortunately, his stepmother had passed, but luckily his father and his sister didn't actually manage to fall victim to his experiments either. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I'm glad that they were wary of him being released and not trusting him 100%.
More specifically the father, but yeah, at least the sister was there being like, no, he's not great. Yeah. But yeah, his dad was very much gung-ho. Yeah. Do not let that boy out, and nobody will house him if you do. Right. Yeah. Which, true. He ended up going to a hostel. So he didn't stay with family. His sister, even though he lived somewhat near her, he wasn't staying there either. Yeah. Yeah. The more you know. Yeah. Another name in the books. Just crazy. Intelligence and actions. Yeah. Yeah. A commitment to science. Right. I respect the commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the haphazardly just poisoning everybody's tea and things, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Right. It's especially just, oh, she annoyed me.
She annoyed me enough that I sent her home. Dang, I wish I would have laid her up in bed for a while and given her that much instead. So spiteful.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So rest in peace to the victims. And he is also dead, whether that had been by his own hands or others.
Right?
And luckily, we got some new rulings out of it and restrictions and guidelines to make things a little bit safer.
Yes.
And I'm sure more happened after that too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. But at least here are some of them.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe not as much.
Yeah, hopefully not as much were needed after this.
Yeah.
But alas, it's the world, so who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I hope you liked my presentation.
I did. That was a wild ride. For sure.
Twists and turns and staring like, what do you mean they let him?
Right? Yeah. Which, yeah, and I should... Obviously, I sound like, oh, they finally caught on. We know in hindsight, obviously.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not saying these people were all stupid for not catching on, but it's because they didn't know his background. Had anybody done a thorough check or that been a consistent thing to do, then none of that would have happened. But yeah, it's... Yeah.
And even then, they kind of only caught on because the guy made the claim that metals poisoning was already ruled out and invalid. Mm-hmm. Which pissed Graham off because he really needed to correct him.
Right.
So thanks for watching and listening. And next week we will have the dog still. And Jenny will be presented.
Yep.
So
I'm excited.
See what fun you come up with.
It will be fun.
Yeah. Until then, take care. Bye.
Bye.